Unfortunately, I can't sand that for about 2 to 4 hours. So I was gonna kind of turn my attention over to the hood here. And initially I sanded down all the flaking clear coat spots, but now, since it's been quite a long time, more of the flaking is coming back. So I think my best bet is to sand the whole thing, the whole hood, down back to the primer, because it looks like pretty good condition here as far as, you know, the primer areas that I've uncovered so far. There is one little crack here. I hope I'm not going to discover any Bondo jobs underneath. Does that go all the way down to the aluminum? Because this is an aluminum hood, as opposed to my roof and quarter panel. That was all steel. So yeah, we're going to probably uncover some hidden damage, that's for sure. Maybe put the old orbital sander into play and get down to business here. Get down to the layers, get down to the primer. See what else this car has in store for me. Alright, we're going to try the orbital now. We got some 80 grit on here first. Gonna try that out, try and break down some of this area. Try and get it down to that white primer look. So we'll see how quickly this 80 grit will break it down. If not, we'll bump it down to 60. See what happens there. Well, thankfully it's starting to come off pretty quickly with that 80 grit on the orbital sander. There's a little bit of like yellowing going on as I'm cutting through. I don't know if that's just like just the way the color is changing as I go through. So far everything's looking pretty good under the paint. I just wanted a nice consistent primer that would allow me to just throw the wrap right over that, and hopefully everything sticks and lasts for another couple years. I do one day want to try to refurbish this carbon here. I wonder if there's a way to like wet sand it or rejuvenate it some way. That would be cool, and that would be very satisfying. Get it looking like this again. It's just the sun, man. The sun's an animal, just destroying everything. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's in the sun, it's gonna get destroyed over time. That's just what you gotta expect living on the earth. Almost going for like a little racing stripe maybe in the middle. Sand down the other side, nice and white. Boom, racing stripe right down where the hood scoop is. Anyways, yep, we're making progress. As I say, one step at a time. Here we go, let's keep going. As you guys just saw, we made quite a bit of progress. We've made quite a bit of progress on the hood. It's turning albina. It's an albina hood now. We're slowly starting to get the coat of paint off here. It's a very thin layer, it seems like. But we're breaking it down. We're breaking it down a lot easier than I'd say the roof, because the roof had gobs and gobs of body filler and a bunch of damage, come to find out. So thankfully I'm not uncovering anything suspicious here. A little bit of spotting here. I think I went a little too deep. I think just past the white. But I was just going ham with the orbital sander, and I actually made a little oopsie here. Just bumped the 80 grit sandpaper. So yes, I'm an idiot. Yes, I know. And then to top that off, even better, I just skimmed it on this side as well. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna remove this before I get any closer. So I left myself a little perimeter. I'm going to show you guys why I'm sanding the paint off and not just trying to wrap over it. This paint is so bad, the clear coat is so gone that the wrap will just peel up the paint. You'll see little flakes of paint. That's the whole reason why I'm committing to just like breaking it all the way down to the primer. Yeah, get that sample piece of wrap on there and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm not acting crazy or not sounding crazy. Hopefully the paint just peels right off with the wrap. Alright, here we go. Let's see if I'm full of crap or not. So we're going to just clean up this area with a little wax and grease remover. Hell, I don't even know if it's going to stick to this primer. Like I said, I might just be eating my words and I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Normally I use rubbing alcohol when I'm getting the area prepared. Alright, we got some dark gloss gray left over. See if I remember how to do this. So I'm going to do half and half, basically. I'm going to see if paint peels up here or if it's going to peel with the primer as well. So it's going to be a halfway tester here. Put it on about halfway on there. Alright, squeeger. Evenly just lay it down here. Nice and good like. This is going to be without post heating. So it's going to be the least sticky, I guess you would say, because the adhesive isn't activated by the heat. So it's just a cold test. So let's, I guess, peel it up and see what happens. Ooh. So it doesn't seem to want to kind of stick to the primer. Sticking to the paint side though. But let's see. See, if I were to keep it just like that. See, it brought up some flakes of paint on that side. And actually a whole line of paint right where it splits between the primer and the paint. So yeah, that is exactly why I am sanding it down to primer. And I don't know if I'm going to have to use some type of like adhesion promoter or something like that for this wrap to stick to the primer. But I've seen many videos online. People are wrapping primered cars, so obviously I'm going to be doing some research here. I'll be doing some extensive research on this before I waste any more of my time. But heck, maybe I'll just have to get the dang car painted after all this prep. I mean, you might as well. I'll probably save a couple $1,000 on labor alone just doing all this by myself. Maybe. There's a thought. But yeah, that's not going to happen. Well, maybe tax season. It's coming around, but I think I got other things to pay for before this car is paid for. We're on a budget. We're balling on a budget, that's for sure. But that being said, let's move on. Okay, we're going to go for test number 2. And this time around, I'm going to post-heat the vinyl and see if it sticks any better than the cold vinyl stick. So we're going to try to activate the vinyl. Brings back memories. All nice and flat like. Avery post-heat temperature is anywhere between 175 and 195 degrees Fahrenheit. We're at 68.9. Got my trusty heat gun from the previous vinyl adventure. Hopefully we'll have better results. The adhesive should stick to the primer just as well as the paint. But that's why we're experimenting, and we're going to figure out this theory right about now. So it's going to take a minute or two. So let's speed this up a bit, eh? Alright, post heat is done. We went to about 180. So I don't know if it matters that this wrap is 3+ years old. Just been sitting in the garage. Let's see what's going on here. So it's already sticking much better. Actually have to pull it up now. So we're already getting better adhesion here just by heating up the adhesive. Proper post heating. Doesn't seem like much of the paint is coming off this round. Maybe that's because I've already done this once on the same area. So it's actually not too bad. Do a little bit of sparkle here on the back side, just a little bit, right where it's split. But definitely not too bad. You can see right here, this area right here is pretty rough. So if I hit it with the vinyl, I'm not sure if you guys saw it in the first clip or not. See it right here. See this right here? That's where it dips down and that's where the paint's missing. You see like this little discrepancy there. So we obviously don't want anything like this showing underneath the wrap, so even more of a reason to get this sanded down to the primer. You guys may have noticed that I stopped using the orbital sander for this area. just because there isn't much flat here. It's kind of a, you know, a little ridge. There's a high area and a low area, so I don't want to just burn through a certain spot. So I'm just using some good old elbow grease. Got some 80 grit on this soft sponge style sanding block. It helps out when you have, you know, some dips and ups and downs. So it's got some give to it, in other words. Show you how quickly I can sand down this area. A little bit of the paint left, that's right here. Take some 60 and start sanding there lightly. Being careful not to go through the white at all, you know, I'm just targeting the paint areas. I really don't want to open up Pandora's box on this one. Although I didn't really know I was opening it up when I was doing the roof. Just like that. The area is nice and white, like an albino. So rinse and repeat times a million, and we should have a white hood in the end. Well, after I nicked the hood scoop with the sandpaper, I finally put some tape around the edges so I don't do that again on accident. I believe this is called working smarter, not harder, or just not completely being an idiot. So that's me thinking ahead after I already did the damage. Damage has been done, at least on a couple sides. We're just going to kind of sand around the perimeter here, get all this paint broken down to the primer, and move on with our lives. Let's try again. Just over here sanding my life away. Got my little catch bucket here. Catches most of the dust. Most of the dust. A little hack, little cheat, little hack that I've figured out. I think it works nicely. Alright, alright. Well, the hood is coming together. We are getting close to the end as far as the sanding goes. I do want to remove my hood scoop before I continue around these edges here. Just because the last time, as I already showed you guys, I nicked it with the sander on one side and again on the other side. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to remove the hood scoop and not have to worry about that. Notice the hardware started to rust over time. A couple years ago I got this new carbon fiber hood scoop, and it looks like the hardware, it wasn't stainless steel apparently, so we got a little bit of rusting going on. But other than that, it's not bad. So we got to remove this little shroud here and then get the rest of the mounting hardware out. Come out, come out. Hopefully none of the carbon has cracked over the time here. Okay, well, I've lost one. That didn't take long. Minor delay, but we're moving on. So I take back that statement. It looks like the hardware is actually stainless. It's the washers they use that are steel. See, the bolt itself is nice and stainless. It's the washers that they cheaped out on. So I'll keep that in mind. You don't want it to fall on the windshield. Oh yeah. She's off. She's looking a little worn out as well. Alright, one step closer. Let's get to going. I gotta go. Getting closer to sanding time. Sure looks funny without a hood scoop, I gotta say. Definitely not Subaru-like. Looks a bit more naked. So let's get the sanding around the edges, get that nice and cleaned up, and then we'll move on with our lives. Thankfully there weren't any hidden things wrong on the hood here. So we got everything nice and smoothed down. Just a couple different areas that kind of change colors on me. Not really sure, but it's smooth, whatever it is. So I'm not concerned that the wrap won't stick there. So the wrap should stick just fine to the rest of these areas, hopefully. Wishful thinking. So yeah, that actually turned out pretty good, pretty quickly. Just probably gonna get this cleaned up with some wax and grease remover just to get all the powder off. Some vacuuming going and move on to the next panel.